Welcome back, guys. Thanks for stopping by at All I See Is W, where we talk about stocks, Bitcoin, and finance. Today, I wanted to cover the overall Bitcoin market as well as talk about a Bitcoin mining company that I believe has the potential to make a bullish mini MSTR workhorse run in the remainder of 2024 and heading into the new year, having that MSTR like performance for the entire year that we've seen this year. Now, that company is Marathon Digital, ticker MARA. Now, today we've seen Bitcoin, the price is rising, hovering at like current state 103,000. I believe that just with the market sentiment, Bitcoin, especially with the post-halving event in April, this is why we see a lot of Bitcoin miners, especially the established Bitcoin miners like Mara, CleanSpark, and Riot. We've seen these companies trying to increase their HODL, and with Mara trying to catch up with MSTR, that's really going to put them at the precipice to do very well, even though you compare Mara and MSTR. Mara has about 10% of what MSTR has. However, you look at the upside with Mara, they're actually mining as well, in addition to having that ability to buy Bitcoin at a lower fixed cost. So we'll cover today the technical analysis as well as looking at fundamentals. We'll dive deep into why I believe Mara has that potential to really make bull runs in the remaining days of 2024 and heading into the new year. So let's begin looking at technicals, guys. So we're looking at the overall charts of Mara here. So just the entire history of Mara. At one point, we saw Mara, I mean, it was like at the sub $2, and we saw what Mara did at one point in like 2021, the prior bull run. It ran all the way up to like $83. So you see that potential there of like 8,300% with Mara. Of course, where we are today compared to where we were before, things have changed significantly, but that doesn't mean that Mara does not have that potential. So just looking at it from hindsight with 2024, we've seen Mara, the all-time high in the year 2024 year to date was around $34. What we've seen just recently post the president election with Donald Trump becoming the new president early November, we saw that increasing resistance here, that ascending resistance. However, just beginning of December to now, about close to less than 2 weeks, we've seen that downward trajectory here. I think here is a great opportunity to dollar cost average down as we zoom in, because I think there's going to be that bounce back up here. And I think there's going to be an ascending resistance. I believe that just towards the end of the year here, with the remainder of like 2 weeks remaining, I think we're going to retest to see that $34, $35, especially because Bitcoin is rising right now. I'm anticipating that as we head into the new year, into like January, February, March, we're going to see Bitcoin running up to like that 120, 150K range. There's just so much sentiment going on right now, especially with the global approach trying to acquire more Bitcoin. It's a power race right now. So I think the US understands that. And there's been just lots of talks about states like Texas, Pennsylvania to become the Bitcoin state reserves to support the national strategy here. From a technical standpoint, I think come end of December, we're going to test that 34, $35 range. And if we see bullish signals where that resistance isn't the difficult part to pass through, I'm thinking that as we head into January or February, we're going to start seeing more bullish signals heading in. And I have a price target here, resistance set at like $49. If we can break through that, I think there's so much room for Mara to just continue to bull run up, especially because these HODL companies haven't really got benefits yet with the rise in the Bitcoin price, and miners have just been lagging behind. So that's my prediction. I think we're going to see that $35 test and then that $50 test as we head into the new year. So let's just go through some updates here. So Fred Thiel, the CEO of Mara, he actually posted on X here congratulating MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor, for being the first Bitcoin treasury company to join Nasdaq 100. There's just been so much good news around MicroStrategy. We've seen MicroStrategy go up close to about 1,000% in the year 2024. And just with the recent news with MSTR getting into NASDAQ 100, now that puts the pressure on Mara. And I believe that Mara has that potential to get into NASDAQ 100, especially because they're a really big Bitcoin miner here compared to all the other miners. They're number one for a reason with the HODL as well as mining production. And you see here, Michael Saylor expecting Mara will be next up in the line to the plate to get into NASDAQ 100. I think all of it is market sentiment, and investors really want these Bitcoin mining innovative companies to be on board into the stock market, which is why I think there is that push forward for these leading pioneer companies to take an advantage, become part of the indexes that we have in the stock market. Here, just to share with you an article that Saylor expects Mara to be the next Bitcoin firm to join NASDAQ 100. There's been lots of praise, crosstalk between Michael and Adam here, between two companies, suggesting that Mara will be the next one up. And I think if and when Mara gets this announcement, it's going to pop up. And who knows, Mara may tap into the AI cloud-based service. We know that just with the recent news, Mara has been attending a number of platforms regarding AI service discussions. So who knows, Mara may position themselves to get into that HPC AI. I think a lot of the direction right now is miners getting not only becoming a pure miner play, but also trying to expand their business model to take advantage of that since AI and Bitcoin, that's the name of the game right now. And I think over the course of the next few months, it's going to be interesting because I think there's going to be a lot of good news that's going to come out, especially with the miners. I think there's profit taking with premium companies like MicroStrategy reallocating into the undervalued companies like Mara. And that's why I believe Mara is a better play when it comes to an investment strategy than something like MSTR, or even let's say you have conviction with MSTR. I'm not saying that they're a bad company. I mean, they may just continue to hover up. Compare that to like Nvidia. But overall, just from a value standpoint, I think because Mara has been underperforming significantly in 2024 compared to MSTR, I think 2025, there's more value horizon potential with a company like Mara. So I think overall, um, just with the acknowledgement between MSTR and Mara, there's that direct partnership between the two. And just with the constant acquiring Bitcoin between two companies, I think that's really attracting investors right now. And once Bitcoin breaks through that 150 range, I think Mara is just going to bull run up and we're going to see that 3 to 5x potential. So Mara current state at like the low 22, I definitely think it's undervalued. We've seen how far Mara can run up. So that's one thing to consider. Also, just looking at the overall numbers here. So early December, Mara announced their Bitcoin production and mining operations. So just to keep in mind that Mara, their overall operational efficiencies and capacity, it continues to increase. They got their energy's hash rate increased 15% to 46.1 exahash. However, that's old news. Just recently, they announced that they bypassed 50 exahash, which is a big milestone for the company. And that really helps with balancing out the difficulty of mining Bitcoin. And that's how they were able to build on their Bitcoin yield per share at 37% at the end of Q3. But just looking at what they mined in the month of November, 907 Bitcoins mined. There's no other company that mined that much. Secondary would be CleanSpark at like 622, and you have Riot close to about 500. So Mara is leading the race when it comes to mining. So when you think about it, current state with the HODL number, they're like above 40,000, let's say each month. they're acquiring about 2 to 3% of what they currently have. So that builds on to their overall HODL per month, increasing their yield by 3 to 4% every month. So that's the advantage that Mara has because they're constantly mining, solving computer algorithms and getting rewarded the blockchain Bitcoin as a result. MSTR doesn't have that. However, they do have, a lot of Bitcoin on their balance sheet. So different model here, but I think that miners are really going to benefit, especially having that fixed cost mining production and just that ability to purchase here. You see that end of Q3, Mara acquired much more Bitcoin. So total HODL approach over 40,000 now. And I think that just speaks to the sentiment of why Mara is the number one leading Bitcoin miner right now. And I think if it gets into Nasdaq 100, that's really going to catapult the price, in addition to potential HPC AI cloud-based service that they may tap into with their overall business model. But currently, a pure miner play that's number one in HODL and number one in Bitcoin mining production. So there you have it. I hope that this video gave you insight on my perspective on why I believe Mara will outperform MSTR heading into the year 2025. Let me know what your comments, questions are. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Thank you.